works? Cool. Yep.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to start in a couple of minutes, and if you would turn your cell phones off, that would be great. Okay? Hey, Penny. Hi. Morning. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday meditation. And my name is Grace McManus, and I'm one of the practitioners at Center for Spiritual Living in Prescott. And today I'm going to just make a comment that, as you all know, we're going through transitions, and the board is working really hard to make sure that things fall into place. The practitioners have stepped up. And I'm very glad and happy that you all are here. And the kind of meditation I'm going to do today is a little bit different. I call it contemplation. In the Christian tradition, meditation is called contemplation, where we contemplate an idea. And I get a daily email from something called Spiritual Passages, and I got this from that website. So today, I will read a passage or a story about the connectedness of all life. And at the end of the reading, I will lead you into a meditation or a contemplation which asks you to contemplate the message of that story. So it's a little bit different than just a free-floating meditation. And keep this thought in mind, because this will be said at the end of the meditation. St. Augustine, a well-known saint in the Catholic Church, said, "God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere." I love that definition of God, because we don't put God into a human body, but we see it as the entire universe, and everything around it is moving almost in a circular way. And if we can keep that idea in mind, that's what I'm asking you to contemplate on. So here's the story. A farmer grew award-winning corn, and each year he entered his corn in the state fair, where it won a blue ribbon. One year, a newspaper reporter interviewed him and learned something interesting about how he grew it. The reporter discovered that the farmer shared his seed corn with his neighbors. And the reporter asked, "How can you afford to share your best seed with your neighbors when they are entering corn in competition with yours every day?" "Well," said the farmer, "didn't you know that the wind picks up the pollen from the ripening corn and swirls it from field to field? If my neighbors grow inferior corn, cross-pollination will steadily degrade the quality of my corn. If I want to grow good corn, I must help my neighbors grow good corn." This farmer understands and knows about the connectedness of all life. His corn cannot improve unless his neighbors also improve. So that's a universal message, that one needs to help, we need to help each other at this time of transition. And so it is with our lives. Those who choose to live in peace must help their neighbors to live in peace. Those who choose to live well must help others to live well. For the value of a life is measured by the lives it touches. And as you all know, there are people in our lives that have moved us, have helped us to grow. And those who choose to be happy must help others to find happiness. For the welfare of each is bound up with the welfare of all. So now I'm going to ask you to remember this short story as we contemplate this message. Meditation is also contemplation. Contemplation is also meditation. In the beginning, I read a quote from St. Augustine. Contemplate on how we are all connected. When we recognize that we are never alone, how can we help others to recognize that God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere? So I'm now asking you to close your eyes, settle into your seats in a peaceful, meditative state, and for the next 7 or 8 minutes, we're going to contemplate this quote from St. Augustine. God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. So let's return now to the sanctuary. And I ask you to remember this idea for today. God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. And allow yourself to bring your body back into the sanctuary as you open your eyes. And I would like to thank everybody who came today. Namaste.
Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Prescott. Thank you, Grace, for that beautiful pre-service meditation. My name is Kira Molitor. I'm part of the leadership here, and we have a lot of announcements, so let me get right to it. We have an opening for a committed volunteer to take on some of Albin's duties as Sunday service coordinator, and we need someone to help with building and grounds oversight. Please see any board member. Your help is needed and welcomed. The October board meeting is next Sunday. Please plan on attending. We hope to be able to answer your questions and concerns. And don't forget to mark your calendars for November 28th, which will be the annual board meeting at which we hold our elections. We have candidates who will be interviewing today. If you are interested in becoming a part of the board and being part of the work of this center, please see any board member as soon as possible as we get this process moving forward. The nominating committee will be interviewing today. We have 5 Sundays this month, and the last one, October 31st, is Halloween. Wear a costume. Wear a costume. Come dressed up. Today we say goodbye to Evelyn and Yos as they begin a new journey, and we thank them for everything they have done here. We will miss them. Now Sandy Kimberly has an announcement. Thank you.
Good morning. We have a new member class that's going to take place on, it's not really a class, new member meeting orientation that is going to take place on November 13th, Saturday, here at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you are not a member, please plan on attending that meeting so to find out about us and become a member so that you can vote for the new board at our general meeting. So please notice that that is in the bulletin, and anybody online, if you'd like to join us, please come. Thank you.
So good morning again, and we will open the service with an invocation where we call forth that presence that we know exists within everything. So just take a moment to center your mind and your attention on the One, on the Spirit, on the God consciousness that we have names for, many, many names for, and also contemplate this idea that we are all connected and each and every one of us has a part in this universe. So I'm grateful today to be your practitioner on duty, Grace McManus, for those who don't know me. And we offer services such as prayer and teaching classes. So I close this invocation by saying, I release it into the law, knowing that it is done unto us as we believe, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. So, I quite often get asked about what I do on Sunday mornings. They inevitably, the question comes up where when you say I play music at a church, then I know I have to say more stuff after that because I see their brains filling up with preconceived notions of what that means, and I'm like, well, let me explain it. So it always gets around to the question, well, what does the center believe? You know, and usually where this conversation takes place is the conversation needs to be short, and so I always say two things. I say, we believe that ultimately we are all one, and your thoughts shape your reality. And they're like, oh, I agree with that. I'm like, I know you do. And no one says the second truth cooler than Eddie Watkins. So join me in singing. And I have to say, I did change his words. I did not get clearance on this. I still need to talk to Eddie about this. Because his lyric is, because you believe. After Foundations, you can no longer read lyrics and be like, oh, that's good. You have to switch stuff. Because Foundations taught me it's not when I believe, it's because I'm making it real now. So anything is possible because I believe. This is a toe tapper, y'all. I think the sign language is, what's the sign language again? Goes like this. Well, anything is possible, 'cause I believe. I said anything is possible, because I believe. I said faith can make a mountain move, because I believe. I said faith can make a mountain move, because I believe. Well, I know that I can change my life because I believe. I said I know that I can change my life because I believe in myself, in myself, in myself, in myself. Well, I'm gonna make a miracle, 'cause I believe. I said I'm gonna make a miracle, because I believe. Well, everything I want I got, 'cause I believe. I said everything I want I got, because I believe. Myself, in myself, in myself, in myself. Well, I believe in me, so I believe in you. And since we believe in each other, there ain't nothing that we can do. Well, we're gonna make a miracle, make a miracle, gonna make a miracle, make a miracle, gonna make a miracle, make a miracle, gonna make a miracle, make a miracle. Yeah.
Here we all are. Nice to know I'm among friends, I gotta tell you. My name is Mel Hirsch. I am one of 11 professional licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And I'm tempted to say, you guys just did the whole service with that song, I'm out of here. But the fact is, we are a family. We are a community. And I have 3 words that kind of wrap it up for me, which is love is spoken here. So if you're up for some love being spoken, not only from here to there, but from there to here, because I could use it, and between y'all, then we're going to have a good time. This whole thing started with a fellow by the name of Ernest Holmes, and I think I'm about to get a mic change. We went round and round with this thing this morning, and it turns out that my ears are too big. and this isn't the first time I've heard it, so it is what it is. And it's part of what makes me a little different, a little unique, and I'm fine with it. So anyway, the Center for Spiritual Living exists to empower, to offer y'all a kit of spiritual tools that's going to make a big difference in everybody's life. We operate by a set of principles, and it started out with a fellow by the name of Ernest Holmes, who deduced that all of the great advances in humankind came from one of three sources. And those sources were science, philosophy, and religion. And, on the surface, they seemed so very different from each other. And if somebody lived in one of those houses, it wasn't real comfortable or not always welcome in one of the other two. I mean, I'm right. Got it? They're not. So, what Holmes decided to do was look at the common, what they call the golden thread that runs through all of these things. And because the fact is, we are human, we were miraculously engineered with all the things that we need physically, 2 arms, 2 legs, all the stuff that we need. And we are in this thing together. So we've come to understand that we are not the only people that have a good path to growth. That's been done by faith traditions and philosophies, and yes, science, since we got up off of 4 legs and went on to 2. So that's why there has been one consistent thing in the 15 years that I've been here, and that is we honor all paths. And so I'm going to ask my colleague Grace to join me, and the candle lighters come up. The Center for Spiritual Living honors all faith traditions. As we light a candle for the world's religions, it's to acknowledge both our multiplicity and our unity.
We light a candle for Christianity, based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ, who taught that the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within.
For Islam, the practice of submitting to the will of God is revealed to his prophets, peace be upon them, who taught that there is one God, creator of the heaven and the earth.
For Judaism, a community of shared laws, traditions, and family ties, which began with the covenant between Abraham and God.
For Buddhism, the middle path that ends suffering and awakens mindfulness and compassion.
For Hinduism, the path of knowledge, action, and devotion.
For all the Native American traditions and the indigenous ones, those who walk the good red road, including the people of the sun that we know here in the Southwest as the Yavapai.
For the Baha'i, the path of unity and peace.
For all of the goddess traditions, embracing the divine feminine as maiden, mother, and caretaker and wisdom keeper.
And for the science of mind, which is the philosophy of life that teaches there is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it.
Thank you, ladies. And I better look at a script in case I just drop something out here. Oh, of course. One of our tools around here is affirmation. I affirm that I'm going to settle down. It's not there yet, but it's an affirmation, and I know I'm a piece of that thing up there, and it's a piece of me, and we'll get here. So say with me the affirmation for what we stand for, all right? We are here for God. Our purpose is to express the nature of God
as love, abundance, and joy in everything we do. The good we seek for ourselves is that we desire for all people everywhere.
And so it is. I'm going to walk over to
Sing this one with me. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one.
You are my reflection. Have you ever looked into anyone's eyes, just straight into their eyes, without taking your attention away from that other person? What you will see in that person's eyes is your reflection. And what that person will see is his or her reflection. That gives us this idea that we are all one. And as we end each meditation, sometimes we say the words Namaste, which comes from the Sanskrit language of India. The literal meaning is the divine in me sees the divine in you. So isn't that a marvelous thought? So let us take a moment of silence to remember that we are all one. Thank you, everybody. Namaste.
So many great musicians in this town. And one of them who really gives Prescott's music its flavor is with us today. This is Sky Conwell.
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one, and we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. He will be like she and me, as free as a dove, conceived in love. Sun is gonna shine above. Even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Everything brings a chain of love. In the morning when I rise, brings a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything is gonna be alright. Seems as though a month ago I was better child. I was never high. I was a sorry guy. Now I smile and face the girl who shares my name. I'm through with the game. This boy will never be the same. Even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Everything brings a chain of love. In the morning when I rise, brings a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything is gonna be alright. Love the girl who holds the world in a paper cup. Drink it up. Love her and she'll bring you luck. If you find she helps your mind, take her home. Don't live alone. Try to earn what lovers own. Even though ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Everything brings a chain of love. In the morning when I rise, brings a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything is gonna be alright. Pieces right, Virgil rising is a good sign. Strong and kind, little boy is mine. Now I see a family where there once was none, and we've just begun. We're gonna fly to the sun. One more time. Even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Everything brings a chain of love. In the morning when I rise, brings a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything is gonna be alright.
Thank you, Sky. It's the first time I've heard him. I missed something. Welcome. I want to start off with a little story, and it's a church story, and it's about a congregation that every year did their big bash on Saturday night. And then, well, it was where one of the rituals was to recognize people in the congregation that had done extraordinary things or were exemplified extraordinary qualities. And we've done the same thing here. You see them on the wall when you come in. These are slightly different ones. But before we go on with this, I want to ask, because I'm going to use proper names, is there anybody out here that has the name of Genevieve or Genevieve? Okay, good. How about Arthur or Arthur? Is there an Arthur here? No. Okay, thought I saw it. Good. So far, we're doing good. How about Iris? 3 out of 4. And Maxwell. Is there a Maxwell? Oh, good. Then I don't have to change this around. So think about awards being handed out for various qualities that have been going on in this, not our congregation, I promise. So we'll start with the first one, the Honesty Award. And this award, one of the congregants happened to be a goldsmith and a jeweler. And what he created for these folks, you've probably all experienced the Olympics, and you know what a gold medal looks like, right? It's got this gorgeous blue ribbon, kind of like this, and it's gold, and that medallion's about this big, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's what they were handing out. And for honesty, Genevieve got it. And then for the quality of perseverance. Now, perseverance could also be called tenacity. Any quality that we have, however, I think we can overdo it a bit. So then it becomes stubbornness. Now, we haven't done that, and none of these people did either. So then from there we go to generosity. Now, generosity is money, but it is so much more than money, and we know that around here. And that one went to Iris. And then the final one was humility. And that one went to Maxwell. And they all went home, including Maxwell, and he had his medallion and, put it around his head, and then came home and told the family and hung it up right, there in the living room. And then it was time to go to the congregation, to the church the next morning. And Maxwell put on his humility medallion and walked into the church, and they took it away from him. We can get a little bit tied up in what it is we think we're about. But one of the qualities that I think, and let's talk about our qualities for just a second. We all came together a few years ago, and remember in the days when we would go into the Sibley Hall, we got out these papers and pads, and everybody would write qualities of what we wanted to be and do and have and all that stuff. And all of a sudden these things were, literally, they were pasted all around the room. Do you remember that? No wonder we didn't get all that much done. There was just too much to bite off at one time. It was like trying to eat an elephant in a day. Can't be done. So one of the community spiritual leaders came to us and said, why don't you just start with what you can manage? Pick a number. And the number was 4. And the 4 are, help me out here, I got them written down, but I'm wanting a little interaction too. And thank you. That's the first one. And that's a quality of being. See, I look at these and I'm thinking, we have to have qualities of being because we're human beings. And then we have to have qualities of doing, human doings. Now, most of I can't speak for you, but when I came here, I was the biggest human doing that I knew. So the other quality of being is joy. Then we come to, oh boy, give me another one. Inclusivity. Now, somehow in my head for the last while, because I'm not used to looking up at them on the wall, I've been saying diversity. Diversity means that we want to see people of all shapes, sizes, colors, ages, flavors, spots, no spots, hair, no hair, whatever color or none. And we're looking for that human family to be here and welcome it. And we are a welcoming congregation, we know that. But Eugene Holden, who's been here a couple of times, he's been a practitioner for a very long time, and he's on the ministerial track, for which most of us are very grateful. And he's a friend of ours, not only of y'all, but of Penny and me. And Eugene was speaking about and saying, you know, diversity is swell, but once somebody has been here, how are we including them and saying, if you choose to be, you are part of the family, and mean it. And I'm going to stop with this one because I'm going to tell you a story and an observation, and it's a true one. I've been in a leadership role here for a while, and there have been some wonderful changes, but there is one of the things that I have personally kind of forgotten from time to time. Somebody once said that I never met a microphone I didn't like. Part of it has to do with the fact that I was educated in broadcasting, and I guess some of that stuck. And then as I spent more time around here, I realized that Spirit, God, by whatever name you want to call it, is really the great engineer. And he engineered me with 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And so it has been my affirmation, not necessarily my performance all the way through, to have something to say about everything. Well, guess what? We're all works in process. And it would be nice to be able to go back, but, you know, that ship has left the dock. So it's clear that, and some of you have heard me say this already, God put me on this earth to accomplish a certain number of things. Right now, I'm so far behind, I may never die. That too is an affirmation because none of us is getting out alive. But when I don't get to choose when, I don't get to choose the circumstances, that's the boss's job. That's that ultimate wisdom that lives out there. And when it's time, I may not be in agreement with it, but I know I can't change it. And I also know that there is something inside of me, inside of you, inside of every one of us that is eternal. That doesn't die. We have, and whatever legacy we're going to leave, That's going to be our remembrance. I loved that song because that song speaks to the home I grew up in, and it speaks to in this thing called spiritual growth, we make a mistake or two along the way. Especially in relationships. Boy, relationships, is that a place where we work things out, or isn't it? Well, I'm so delighted my wife is here. We've had one ongoing argument in our relationship. We each think we married up. We each think we got the better deal. And I didn't make that up. I heard it from somebody else whose relationship was kind of that way. And that's one of the perks of having love in a house or having love in a community. I have to, this is a quote from somebody whose name I did not write down, but you'll just have to take my word for it. I didn't make it up. We need to believe in our hearts that we're meant to live a life full of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles. And when miracles happen, they are natural things. It's love that inspires them. A miracle is a natural thing. And when they don't happen, something down here has gone wrong. And it's up to us to find out what that is. And in going through the various things that we're going to be offering up, you'll find it. And you'll see a path, as all the practitioner corps sees a path to transforming it into just that, a life of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles. I'm going to speak of the practitioners for just a moment. We're classified as clergy, but we haven't been through that 3-year ministerial school. We have been through a school that is there to ground us in the principles themselves, and to be able to look at you and see the divinity, period, paragraph, the end. And if we don't see the divinity from the moment we meet you one-on-one, something has gone wrong. Matura Papke was Ernest Holmes' practitioner, and she tells a story about going to a hospital to visit someone who had been in a terrible traffic accident. And she walked into the room, and it was her 4th one that day. And she walked into the room, and there was this fellow sitting there, and his eyes were barely open, and he had machines everywhere, he had needles everywhere, and tubes everywhere. And she looked down and went, oh, and he ran out of the room. And she went to a phone and called up Ernest at home office and said, Ernest, pray for me, I just saw a sick person. That's our charge. And we are all so very, very different. Literally, if you ever lined up this practitioner corps, shapes, sizes, colors, flavors, hair color, no hair, but we made this pact with ourselves that in order to get that license and pass those boards, that we are here to stand as a living, breathing, walking, talking example of applying the principles of science of mind so we can offer that up. And not all of us will take exactly the same road to get there, but you're going to know who it is you want to work with. That's why oh yeah, and what came to me in the practitioner role is I am not a minister. I haven't had the elocution classes. I haven't done this. I haven't done, I look in awe when Reverend Kathleen would do Stump the Minister, and she always had, an acceptable answer for whatever came up there because of all the training in the book learning. But our lives are a ministry. And guess what? Yours too. I guess that's the biggest message I have. And we're all in a growth pattern on this thing from one end to the other. And it starts with, what is it that I still haven't quite mastered? 12-step people know this one. The first of those 12 steps is admitted that there was something off here. And let me put it out to you. Would you agree that there probably isn't a human in this room that isn't at step one on something? Oh, good, I see some nods. All right, so, and then you look as we get into this stuff, and by changing minds time and time again, we come to a place where we've achieved some real comfort, not only with ourselves, but with that wisdom that you can just open yourself up to and let whatever you call spirit, God, inspire what comes out. That's what you're looking at here. I've got several notes, and guess what? This talk was not going to look like this when it first started. But it looks like how it is now because I got to listen to it and find out if I said anything worthwhile. But right now it feels pretty good. I know you're being loved. And that's the last thing I want to speak to for just a minute, and that is we all are going to change our definition of what these four qualities are. When we were a certain age, like little kids, our parents were like gods and they gave us everything and there was nothing around us but love. And then when we got to be about, when do the hormones start? Somewhere in there we had a very different idea of love, most of us. And around that there might have been a fair amount of fear too. And then it just changes, it evolves. We make choices on who we're going to be in a relationship with. And we think about what the criteria are. What are your criteria for being in a relationship today versus your criteria for being in a relationship 20 years ago? Look at how far we've all come. There's this voice that is available to us, and I was looking around for a quote, and I found it, and I wrote it down, and I guess you're going to miss it. So, I want to end on time. So, this is about choice. Choose again. or choose to keep pulling on this thread. There are 4 basic choices in the whole wide world for me right now, and 2 of them are being, and 2 of them are doing. And you can have one or not but not the other. They are God as you understand God, and that's going to change, or the ego. Ego. Kind of like a song of I, to the tune of me, 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 me. Or it's that part that makes decisions about how kindly and well you see yourself. Psychological definition is an example of ego is the way you look at yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But an example of evil gone mad is thinking that you're the smartest person on earth. I need sometimes to be in a 12-step program that says my name is Mel and I'm a recovering know-it-all. Those days don't affect me as much. Eckhart Tolle talked about it. When every thought absorbs your attention completely, when you are so identified with the voice in your head and the emotions that accompany it, that you lose yourself in every thought, in every emotion, then you're totally identified with form and therefore in the grip of ego. Ego is a conglomeration of recurring thought forms and conditioned mental emotional patterns that are invested with a sense of I, a sense of self, and nothing else. So where in that continuum are we? And that's a question that we will all, if you choose to pull on the threads of this teaching, ask and answer for yourselves. So, am I going to choose spirit, God, or the ego? So, in order to keep my ego in check, I've only got like one prayer right now. I call my God the boss, because that takes the heat out of it for a lot of folks that have a problem with God. And so my prayer is, boss, what do you need me to know right now? And then if I'm quiet, sometimes I get an answer. What I also know is that if I'm open to it, if I'm open at the top, if I'm teachable, I will get the beginning of an answer. The other big choice of ground of being is, am I in love or am I in fear? I walked out in fear, but the love feels good. Now let's talk about the doing stuff. The choice is to be, do I want to be justified or do I want to be healed? One or the other. So what does healed mean? Does healed mean, as it does in some places, laying on of hands and healed? No. Healed. No. It means to be no longer at the effect of what is getting in the way. So I can't take a behavior that came to backfire on me and be in principle if I'm standing here trying to justify it. But you don't understand, God, my case is different. Somebody once told me that there are about 6 basic stories in the whole wide world, and you and I are one of them. Ooh, that hurt. No, it doesn't. And the last one is, do I want to be right? Do I want to be happy? How long have we seen... I'm debating if I should pull up. I'm going to pull up the third rail word, politics. As a high schooler, I had my first foray into politics. And I heard someone say, and maybe a few of you will remind this quote, and that is, politics is the art of the possible. Politics is getting everybody together who is willing to commit to a common high goal. And in order to make that work, we need to, first of all, not just be diverse, but we need to be inclusive. We need not to take any advantage over another for any reason of domination or control or manipulation. And people made choices in politics that were based on that covenant. Right now, it appears, but I'm not willing to believe in this appearance, that the various branches of what we call our political system can get together enough to decide what to have for lunch. When that stops, or when somebody says, wait a minute, I'm going for the highest good for all concerned. Another definition of love, by golly. When I can look out here and say, I love you, what I'm saying in this context is that I wish you to be and do and have what you want, whether or not it involves me. Sometimes that's the hard part, whether or not it involves me. But to the degree that it's appropriate to involve me, I'll play. And along the way, I'm going to make mistakes, and so will you, and I'm going to have to do this thing that we call forgiveness. So that's it, guys. 4 basic choices: God or the ego, love or fear, justified or healed, right or happy. Take that home. Think about it. Ask yourself, where do I stand? And remember with me to remember. As we go into prayer, God really is, Spirit really is all and everything. And the allness, the wisdom, the joy, the passion, the magic, the ultimate creative force has a piece of you, and it has a piece of me, and a piece of us as a community. We are part of that, and it is part of us. And as we get quiet and not only recognize that it is here in this room and in each of us, we also know that it will guide and sustain and inspire and protect us. So what I declare and accept in the same breath is that the next steps of each of our personal path to greater and greater effectiveness as human beings in community, loving one another and learning from one another and empowering one another, shall make itself known in some form to each and every soul in this room, to each and every soul watching us whenever, wherever. That is the reality that we choose to live in this moment and in this day. And what that prayer is for you, that somehow, some way, some time in the next few moments on what we call time, there shall be a closer feeling of it and knowing of it, and the path shall be illuminated once more. With great gratitude and knowing, I simply relax into this truth. Allow it to have its way with us all, each to his own belief, each in its own way. Allow the divine to do what the divine does so very, very well. And with that, the people all said, and so it is. Oh, would you all stand? Thank you. Please be seated. Talk about God and Spirit doing for us what we sometimes do. I'll just tell you what, Clay came up to give me a little message, and it was, our big camera went out. So go ahead. It's okay for you to stay right here on the podium, and nobody knew it. So you see, we are guarded and protected by a God that knows only good. I'd like to invite our treasurer, Nina, to come up, and she has something to say to you.
It's show and tell. Good morning. I am Nina, your board treasurer. And I have a couple things to say. During this time of transition, your board wants to be sure we are being transparent about the finances as we move forward as a congregation. Over the past year, our donations have diminished. So this is where the law of abundance comes in, as well as what this box is, a piece of it, a piece of abundance. In the paragraph that I'm about to read, I have substituted, I'm going to look at Jackson as I say this, we, us, and our, for I, my, and mine. This is Abundance in My Inheritance, a meditation by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Abundance is ours. No longer will we go for our good, carrying only a dipper to be filled. This day, we turn to the Father's within, Father within. We bring all the empty vessels, knowing they will be filled and our abundance will become manifest. It is up to us, all of us, to maintain the financial health of this center. So we are appealing to you, the congregation, out there online, to step up. We know some of you will have questions, and we will answer them at the board meeting next Sunday, October 24th. So this box will be put out in the foyer, and I think some of you have heard Reverend Kathleen say it's to the left, and it is. I just wanted to do a visual today. I have a side note. Of course, we haven't really talked a whole lot about it, but we have a bookstore out there. You see it as you come in on the right. And I understand that there's been an addition out there, and there's some t-shirts that they're trying to sell. So go check it out. With that, have a blessed day. Thank you.
We had a conversation about this earlier, and as part of the talk, I had a piece to say about contribution. And if this thing is giving you value, you can't put a price on value, I don't think. I think you just, I feel good when I give something, and the amount is really not the significant piece. I don't want to take us over time, but I'm reminded of someone in a congregation that I was with for 19 years, and this individual was barely off the streets, and all of his money came from gigs, security guard, whatever it might be. He also was not particularly employable because of some physical challenges, but he so got value that he just greeted people and offered love, and I would see him counting out his money for that week, and sometimes it was $20, $30, $40. Sometimes it was even coin. But the fact that he put something in that box, to me, just blew me away, because for us, it tells us, yes, we are doing something valuable, and you are also acknowledging it, however it is you choose to do. Don't let the amount scare you. Just do what your heart says to do. We don't want you to give us the rent money or this kind of thing. But if you normally, go to McDonald's and get an order of fries and a Big Mac, well, give us the fries. And so with that, let's look at our affirmation for what we're here to give. Divine love, in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. New life. And thank you, Sky, for coming up and thrilling us one more time.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one. She sailed into the mystic. Hark, now hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea, feel the sky. Let your soul and your spirit fly into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, I'll be coming home, coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, I want to feel it, I don't want to feel it. Well, I want to rock your gypsy soul, just like back in the days of old. And magnificently we will flow, together we will flow, oh, into the mystic. Well, into the mystic. Into the mystic. You know the words, sing with me. The foghorn blows. When that foghorn blows, you know that horn blows, we're coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I want to hear it, I don't want to fear it. Well, I want to rock your gypsy slow. Yeah, just like way back in the days of old. Well, together we will float magnificent into the mystic. One more time.
want to be sure that we're covering it all, and I'm looking at the clock, and we're doing good. Are there children today? Oh, somebody just went running. They're coming. They're coming. Excuse me? Yeah, let's do that now. We always like to welcome people who are here for the first time or returning after a while. Now, we invite you. Notice I didn't say, you please stand up and don't let anybody say, hey, get up there. Just let us know if you're new to us, that we might welcome you and give you a packet of what we have, and also offer you a gift of a book from our used bookstore. And if there's anybody like that, do you mind standing and telling us who you are and first name and where you're from? Hi. Chino Valley, welcome. Hey, it's not too hard a commute for you. Welcome. Say again? Hey. Oh, yes, well, Maya, you choose your friends well. Anybody else? All right, well, come on up, kids.
Say wave hi. That's the camera that's working. I know. No, it's not up there. It's just out there. It's just out there. So today we talked about what we feel. We looked at a comparison. We versus me. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to? Is we greater than me, less than me, or equal to me? And so we talked a little bit about that. We watched a video on different cultures that have collective cultures versus individualistic cultures. And we also played a game and talked about, well, if we use our talents together, do we earn more points than if we do it separately? So how do we use our talents in order to come together and make a more effective game, right? Do you guys want to add anything? Do you want to say hi?
Sure.
Hi. No, not today. And we had one online. Seamus joined us via the web. So that's it. That's our whole thing today. Do you want to add? Nope.
It was really an interesting experiment.
Very strange experiment.
Okay, yeah, the mic's hot. Well, thank you so much. Oh, we are so blessed. You have no, you have some idea how blessed we are if you've been around for a while. The dedication of the ladies that run this Children's Association of Awesomeness, self-named, I might add. Wouldn't it be cool if we had had the start that they have? Yeah. Okay, time, I think, for us to get ready to move on out of here. So if you'd all care to stand up and grab a hand if that's appropriate for you, and if it's not, just put your hand over your heart. And we'll say our closing affirmation and then sing ourselves out with the peace song. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is happening through my mind, my body, and my affairs. I think it, I believe it, I feel it, I know it, I accept it. Thank you, life.
with me